It is Monday night, but it is time for another live recording of the Auburn Experience podcast, this time episode 36. We're going to be getting into a lot of different topics here tonight, but it's all going to be related around sports, culture, and family starting right now. Welcome back, everybody. We are on a different night and different time, so to speak, but we are back together. Myself, Kyle Loomis, and my good friend and co-host, Austin Scott. Austin, how's it feel to be doing this on a Monday night?
Different, but I don't think we really got any advantage. I'm trying to think of if anything happened last night. Well, a couple things happened today, I guess, that we would not have had hindsight or foresight to know about. But yeah, thanks for accommodating my request to delay us a day.
Well, and even so the reason we'll pull the curtain back here a little bit for everybody. We'll start the show, as most of you know, in about 5 minutes or so. So go if you have comments or questions that you'd like for us to address at the start here. Go ahead and put them in. We moved initially because Austin was going to not be available during our time, but we could have done it a little earlier on Sunday had I not been out of town with family. So we just said, you know what? We thought we might be able to pull it off in the afternoon yesterday, but we're like, let's just push it back a day, see what happens. And I knew what was exactly going to happen is there was going to be a ton of like other news that was going to drop, because that's how Mondays are in the news business. I mean, Mondays, like everything happened over the weekend. Here it is. Go talk about it. So,
right. Yep. News drop Monday for sure. So
that's really what it is.
Nothing super crazy, I guess.
Depends on your perspective on what crazy is. It might be a little bit crazy on one end of the spectrum. I will say there's a little bit of small news that we'll discuss in our Auburn Potpourri section that's a little bit surprising to me today. I did not anticipate that coming. I think you know what I'm referring to. But it feels like we're also almost at the end of a bunch of like news cycles and things that have been transpiring, whether it's transfer portal, whether it's seasons, other things that have been happening. It just feels like we're almost at the edge of it, like kind of falling off in terms of us all getting a break. And I'm ready for it.
Yeah. It's getting to be the end of the athletic season in general too. So that with that comes the territory. But yeah, it's hitting it. It's going into the station full speed ahead.
Yes, it is. Good to see you, Rob. Thanks for being here on the stream tonight. Thanks for showing up. As a reminder, folks, we may have a live stream every single night this week, so be standing by. Tomorrow night, late probably. Just know that it'll be late. It'll be a baseball live stream. Yeah.
If not early Wednesday morning.
I was about to say, what's your over under that I actually get done with the stream before midnight, Austin?
No, you're not. I was going to ask you, what's your cutoff?
I did a live stream at 2:30 in the morning last year for the Oregon State games. So
that's what I think you're going to be doing.
You really think it's going to be that bad for me?
It's the last week of May in Hoover. We're going to talk about it. But I've been going to this tournament for most of my life. There's no way the tournament tomorrow will stay on schedule. No way.
Oh, I knew that it wouldn't stay on schedule, but and here's the problem is I haven't even looked at the weather, how that's going to
bad.
Is it bad? Oh no.
Forecast storms.
Oh gosh. Well, basically everybody put your raincoats on, and yeah, even Rob agrees. The last game always runs past midnight, which we have. Look, there's a couple ways you could think about this too. You could be upset that it is that late, but everybody will be off. Nobody will be at work when you could have that 9 a.m. game, or I think it's 9 a.m. So I guess it would be nice just to have that like 4:30 game so everybody could kind of see it, but it is what it is. I'm trying to think if there's like anything else like E2C stuff that we've got going on. Oh, we've announced this. I don't know if Austin knew this, but Alumni Hall is, we are now affiliates with them. They are not like an official sponsor or anything, but we work alongside them. So you guys make sure you support them. We usually share links out for about that. In our latest video today about one of our new commits, which we're probably going to be talking about in this episode. You'll find some links to things in there. So please do check them out if you're in town, but also online as well. So with that being said, most of you know the drill. We're going to move into our live recording part of the show now. 3 different segments, about 10 minutes each. A little Auburn potpourri to start off. Probably some baseball talk to start off with. We'll look at the how Auburn ended the season, their tournament outlook, and then we're going to wrap up what we hope is the end of the transfer portal. So, Austin, if you are ready, sir, we are ready. I'm ready to roll on my end.
We're ready to roll.
3, 2, 1. David Housel said it best: the whole of the Auburn experience. So many things fall under that category. So many places, people, things, stories, news items. But at its heart, at its core, it is all about our sports. It is all about our culture. And it is all about our family. And because it's all about family, I have to have a member of the Auburn family alongside me to talk about it. As always, let's be honest, your favorite host of this show, but my co-host, Mr. Austin Scott, back for episode 36. What's going on?
What's going on, Kyle? War Eagle to you, War Eagle to our listeners. Episode 36. I only have one, but he was a crowd favorite and one of my favorites. And I think we're thinking of the same person.
Say it.
A fellow kicker.
Mr.
Cody Parkey.
There it is. I was going to say, that's well done, sir. I feel like there's a 36 out there that we're forgetting, that people are now screaming at if you're watching the show, screaming at the camera, or if you're listening audio-wise later, you're also screaming at your device. Like, how could y'all forget this? Why do I feel like Trey Matthews was 36 for Auburn? Does that sound right?
No, that doesn't sound right to me. I feel like it was 26. No, I'm not sure. 36 seems high. The current 36 would be Jalen Simpson.
That's a good. So there, that's maybe what I'm thinking. DB 36. I knew it was somewhere in that. So I guess if you will not take Cody Parkey as the representative for the show, we will also take Jalen Simpson, current safety for the Auburn Tigers, and any other sports 36s you could think out there. You can let us know if you're watching live. Any representatives that you can think of alongside that. As we always do, let's jump into a little Auburn potpourri before we get into our 2 big segments on the night related to baseball and Auburn football transfer portal stuff. I'm going to do the other side of the diamonds, softball, which we spent a lot of time talking about last week, leading up to with the end of their season to their Clemson regional. Again, we talked a lot last week, Austin, about how we were frustrated. We were going back there, and it ended pretty much the exact same way. Literally, if you opened up the book last year, closed it, and opened up again, it was the same story, was it not?
Yep. It was exactly the same story. Auburn got to Sunday like they were supposed to, took a game to make it a winner-take-all, and fell in the finale and ended their season. So really unfortunate. You would have hoped that if, this Auburn team's hosting, maybe that doesn't happen. But that's the cards they were dealt going back to Clemson, and Auburn again doesn't make it out of a regional. So really unfortunate, and really good showing by the team all weekend. Just couldn't get it done when it mattered.
The thing too is you could look at it this way. We talked a lot about where their path would lie to Oklahoma, literally through Oklahoma. And you don't have to face that now. Clemson does. So,
yeah. Oh, I mean, Clemson's only got 2 more games left in their season now. So, I mean, that was the fate one way or the other. So, best of luck to Clemson, but you're about to get destroyed.
Yeah. I have a strong suspicion Auburn would probably put up a little bit better fight, but that's just me. I know I've got my orange and blue glasses on right now. I'm a little bit bitter. And it's also because we have to mention some news. One of the benefits, I guess, of us doing this show a day later is we're on Mondays, which is a big news cycle. And some sad news today. Slugger, first baseman for the Auburn softball team, Bree Ellis, has officially, by her own words now, we can confirm that, entered the transfer portal. I feel like, as I said it, people could feel like that rising up that I was about to say, that it's the dreaded word. You love it when they come into the transfer portal, but you hate it when the transfer portal giveth and taketh away. Your thoughts, reactions, sir? Are you surprised?
I was surprised. I saw that news kind of right after I got off work today. Just didn't expect that, but I'll be the first one to tell you I don't follow the transfer portal comings and goings of Division I softball as much as maybe someone else. But Bree is definitely a name that has become synonymous with Auburn softball the last couple of years.
Yes.
She's made herself very eccentric on the field, on the diamond, as well as on social media, interacting with fans.
Yep.
Obviously has racked up a large amount of Bree bombs and home runs over the last couple of years, and really looked like she was on a pace to maybe have her name at some record books for a while. So yeah, kind of interesting to see where she might end up. You never know what a student athlete is thinking like that when they're having that much success and then they decide to leave. You also wonder, do they already have an idea of where they're going? Do they already have welcoming arms being told to them about somewhere else to go?
They got to check somewhere else. Let's just
I mean, that's the age we live in now, right? So it's unfortunate. And, I saw where she said, she really is truly grateful for everything at Auburn. We don't know what's going on. We don't know if it's a disagreement between her and coaches or just needing a change of pace or looking for greener pastures. But best of luck to Bree, and really hate that we're not going to be able to have her in an Auburn uniform next year.
Yeah, it really stings on what I felt was a really continued swing of momentum for this program. And look, if one player, stifles you in the way you're heading as a program, then you weren't that much of a strong program anyway. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it does make you take a pause and go, wow, that's our star player there. I don't think it's unfair to at least put Bree Ellis, had she finished her time at Auburn. And look, something could change. That's the thing of the transfer portal. They can go in and then come out. We don't know how this is going to play out. You probably have an idea of how it's going to play out, but you could almost see the direction she was heading into the name of Casey Cooper type of territory. Yeah. If she is that a fair statement to say that comparison could have been had if she had stayed long-term?
Offensively, for sure.
Yes.
I think Casey was probably more well-rounded of a defender, and had a lot of academic accolades going for her as well. I don't know anything about Bree. Might have the same academic
bigger
success.
Yeah,
but that is the name to beat in Auburn softball and has been since she left in the last 10 years. So I definitely thought that's the way it was going for Bree. I think she's already in the top 10 of Auburn career home runs as a sophomore. So I mean, for sure, 2 more years, you'd think she's going to jump that list barring any injury. So yeah, it's just really unfortunate to know that is the trajectory she's on. And that's not going to be the case in all likelihood.
Well, since we're talking about transfer portal stuff, let's move from bad things to good things. And we keep pushing this off, Austin, about how we're going to talk higher level, bigger topic, Auburn basketball transfer portal stuff. That is, we promise you, we're not just putting it off to put it off. We're just kind of waiting for some of these pieces to fall into place. One of them has, as of recently this past week, since we last got together, Chad Baker-Mazzara has decided to transfer to Auburn, adding another 6'7", however you want to call him. I call him small forward type of a guard coming here as well, if you want to kind of put him in the guard category. That has been announced, and Janai has hinted that Janai Broom, about the NBA draft is coming very, very soon, given some social media posts. So it feels like we're imminently, I should say, on the verge of being able to talk about this higher level. Any thoughts about those two things, though?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Chad Baker-Mazzara. I always think it's interesting. Do we call these guys transfers from JUCOs? Do we not? Because they're they have to leave. They have to leave the JUCO. That's not really a willing transfer,
right?
Unless you're in your first year of JUCO. But
it's so a confusing world.
It is. Welcome to college athletics in 2023. I think people were kind of surprised that was a 3 spot that Bruce Pearl and staff was able to grab really quickly when we've heard of names like Julian Phillips and Tyron Lawrence. But I think when it comes down to it is, we know Julian Phillips is going to continue going through the draft. He has hopes of being drafted and playing in the NBA next year. Tyron Lawrence, this thing is just dragging out. And at some point, because it's happened to Auburn so many times, you can't wait long enough. At some point, you got to decide what's best for my program. And if I miss on this guy and he leaves me stranded, what am I going to do? And so I think that's really what ended up happening. Now, is this a lesser known commodity in Chad Baker-Mazara than maybe those other guys? Yeah. But a guy that has good numbers, has had success where he's been, and still fills a need where Auburn's been wanting one. And so I think it's a good decision to go ahead and get a guy in the boat, and then see what else can come once you have a little more safety of a net with these other guys. I'm not sure we're going to see much more of Auburn basketball in the transfer portal unless Janai leaves. I don't believe he's going to leave. I think he's doing his due diligence as he should for himself and for his family to see where he's at and what teams really think of him. I hope he gets honest feedback about that, and can make an educated decision. But I think probably at this point, with where Janai is and with where NIL money does play a factor here of how those things can kind of all things even now, at the stage that he's at. I'm not saying, NIL is not going to compete with some lottery picks, but and Bruce has been one to say if he's first round, he needs to go. He's been like, Bruce has said that since the day he got here.
Big advocate, yeah.
Which, remember when we were like, Bruce, we're not going to have any first round picks. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. You have earned that lifetime contract,
Yeah, right. So I think Janai will come back. If he doesn't, it's going to cause some concern. But Auburn will have to be heavy in the transfer portal again. My understanding is Janai has until May 31st to decide, which is a week from Wednesday, which is at this recording 9 days from now. So still some time, but we'll have some finality here soon.
I sure hope so, because I'm so ready for us to talk about it. And very quickly, to end our potpourri segment, this is probably great that we can just blow through this and just not talk about it too much and dwell on it. But obviously, since it is affecting our football program and everything else that is connected to it in the Auburn experience, there is obviously the news of an issue with Jarquez Hunter, our foreseeably starting running back, and effectively some others involved in an incident that is very unfortunate. We are not going to even talk about the details of here because it's not really necessary to, but I'm sure if you do enough searching on the internet, you can figure out what's going on there. There's no news there as to who's been suspended, how long, and what other issues may be coming down. But unfortunately, it just seems like when things are trending in the right direction, we can't stay out of our own way sometimes. So just something unfortunate that we want to make sure we're not ignoring. It's out there. We just don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about it. So we'll move on from that. Let's talk about our first big topic tonight. It feels like we've been flip-flopping the last couple of episodes. Like, we'll talk about baseball, then we'll talk about softball in a great detail. We're back to baseball. I kind of like that, to be honest with you, because and it's nice that they're staggered, their seasons a little bit. One starts sooner than the other, one ends sooner than the other. So we kind of have that opportunity to focus in on each of those a little bit. And we are excited right now for some Auburn baseball. Let me tell you, my goodness, 5 SEC series in a row that you have won, sweeping a team at home in Missouri at the end of the season. Almost is too much to say, but playing your way into a bye into the SEC tournament. But still, this is an incredible run for this team. Arguably, maybe not even arguably, just definitively the best team of the second half of SEC play. We want to move into talking about this tournament, but I just want to hear your overall thoughts, Austin, about this team and what they have done the last 5 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, what you said arguably, but by the metrics, they have the most wins since the halfway point in the SEC season. So, they are the best team in the conference since, the midway point. But we talked about after the LSU series, okay, this team's hot. What do they have to do from here on out to really get a chance to maybe be a host? Like, is that even a possibility? And they said, well, they've probably got to be perfect. Like, they can't lose the rest of the way until they get to the SEC tournament, probably. Oh, that's what they've done. And, they canceled that Samford game gets rained midweek. Samford game gets rained out.
That's one way to do it, right?
Game, that's one way to do it. The Jacksonville State game gets canceled. It happens a lot this time of year.
Yeah,
canceled. Sorry.
Sorry about that.
And then they sweep the other 2 weekend series. And so, there's a couple prognosticators out there that have Auburn baseball hosting right now, a regional, which is just would have been unfathomable 6-7 weeks ago. So really well done. It's going to be really fun. Hopefully they have plenty more wins to go in Hoover. But it's pretty awesome to see how well they're doing and how I keep kind of waiting for it to, okay, let's come back down just a little bit.
Yeah, you're waiting for the Auburn part of the story. We're on the roller coaster ride up. When are we dropping?
Yeah. How much more until the drop? And so, and folks, that might be like, I'm not expecting Auburn to go all the way to Sunday of the SEC tournament and win the thing. Oh my gosh, I hope so. That would be the craziest thing ever and a blast. But they've set themselves up to have a postseason like they want to right now. If you win all the way to Sunday, then we're talking about, okay, maybe you're getting to host a regional and then host a super regional. So super fun, super exciting time. And as Kyle and I have told you every week, you always trust Butch Thompson. Let's just, when in doubt, trust Butch Thompson.
Like I have been ashamed for even the slightest tinge of doubt I've ever had in this guy and his coaching staff and his players. Like, as optimistic as I try to be, and I'm probably super annoying to viewers of this channel, listeners of this podcast, probably get called Pollyanna Sunshine Pumper. I wear that as a badge too, frankly. But it's just crazy to see what he's pulled off. I can look back to some of the live streams we did. We always did midweek check-ins after the midweek games and talked about kind of assessing what had just happened the previous weekend and the weekend where we're heading into. And there was a point where we were like, man, this is it. If you can't get this thing turned around, the season's it's basically effectively over. And boy, did they say, you know what? Put our foot in the ground and we're just going to win 5 straight. And 3 of those at least were very formidable programs. Missouri, they're going to be our opponent in the SEC tournament, which we're about to talk about. I wouldn't say that they're the most formidable team out there, but they're not a pushover either. They've beaten some teams that they shouldn't have in some series wins in SEC play. So it's just impressive what Auburn's been able to do. And let's just be honest. We know what the real secret sauce here. It's the Eagle. They've been flying the Eagle we cannot lose when the Eagle flies.
Yeah, no, you're right. And it's been a cool thing. They did it again. I wondered if they get one more in before the end of the regular season. And it seemed to be a really big hit again. So I'm excited about the next couple days and then the next few weeks for this Auburn baseball program. It's always fun to me too, really, since Auburn got back in the national picture of postseason college baseball. It is one of the last things going in the college athletics season. I think you posted today, only Auburn track and field, Auburn men's golf, and Auburn baseball are left in the Auburn athletic calendar. That's all that's going on. Softball season ended. Those are the only 3 sports left. And each of those are having their own success as well. But with baseball being one of the quote unquote big 3 sports, this time of year, now that Auburn has made its way and they can be a formidable opponent in late May and early June, all of the Auburn family gets around it. And it's kind of really unique because we don't get everyone focused on one thing really too much.
Right.
And so I'm excited for it. I really hope that this team has a long run in them because it's too fun when they do. And so I'm excited for all of it.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That's a great point because the coalescing that happens around football at the beginning of fall is obvious. That's just it's football. We understand that. Basketball has kind of built that too. But then you've got like the gymnastics program that garners its own attention. Even when Suni Lee hasn't been here. So that kind of almost not pulls away, but almost kind of redirects attention at times. But here you truly have baseball at the end of the season, just because of how the season lays out, coalescing all these fans to the exact point that they're at.
Yeah. And basketball starts at the end of football, so it's almost, and it's not the SEC season. So it's almost an afterthought of it's the midweek thing that can get us through to the next Saturday.
Right.
And I'm not saying that we view it that way as much as like it's a lesser, but it's just how it is during football season, especially where we're from. And then, like you mentioned, then you go into winter and gymnastics has become its own thing. And then baseball and softball start mid-February. And so everything is kind of interwoven until we get to here, and baseball is the biggest show left. And I don't want to take away from track and field and men's golf. Men's golf is having an incredible year. It just, won their own quote unquote regional in their backyard to go to the national championship. So hats off to them, but it is definitely a large focus on Auburn baseball now that they've found their way and made their way of playing in late May and early June here recently.
Yeah, I agree. Let's use our last few minutes here in this segment to kind of do as a quick preview of what we can anticipate the SEC tournament. Obviously, we're going to come back and be talking about this most likely next week too, the results of it and where we head into postseason play. Because what's not up for debate is Auburn in postseason play anymore in baseball. They will. They're obviously in the SEC tournament. They will be in the NCAA tournament. The question is how good they might be placed in that particular category. For Auburn fans out there, your SEC tournament game begins at some point late in the evening, if rain holds out, Tuesday, the 23rd, versus the Missouri Tigers. Good luck to everybody staying up with me tomorrow night. We're going to be doing a post-game live stream. We already talked about that they just got done sweeping Missouri. You got to almost feel a little bit concerned, Austin. It's hard to beat somebody 3 games in a row, but 4 in a big stage like that with a team that's trying to play their way as well into postseason play, that's a scary combination in my mind.
Oh, you're not wrong. I mean, this Missouri team knows Auburn backwards and forwards very recently, and now they'll get a chance to see them again. And like you said, they're playing for, Auburn's playing for chances of hosting and chances of that higher seeding. Missouri's playing to get in, and they're a team that can because they've played a deep schedule in the SEC, and they've played, well enough to be fighting for that spot. And they should have, no lack of motivation at all whatsoever to be playing their heinies off. So I'm hoping that, Auburn just understands that they have seen these hitters. They're the better team. We know Tommy Vale's going to be pitching. He did not pitch this past weekend. That is A+ news. I don't know if that was – I know Tommy was a little sick. I don't know if that was the plan all along to see if we can get through without him and have our ace ready for Tuesday night. But love that he is going to be pitching. And, yeah, Kyle, here's the only thing. And we talked about this pre-show. I grew up in Hoover, and I grew up going to Spain Park High School, the arch rival of Hoover High School. Hoover High School is about 100 yards from the Hoover Met. It's where they play the football games. I've been to this tournament more times than I have not. When we were in high school, we would not go to school the last week of school and go to the Hoover Met. We would hide because there's sessions. So the first session is the first 2 games. Second session, second game. About the 8th inning of the second game of the first session, me and my 2 buddies, who I might name them just to get them in trouble, we would go in the bathroom stalls and stand on the toilets and wait for the second inning of the first game to start so that we didn't get our wristbands checked again.
Oh my goodness.
We stayed there all day long. I've been sunburnt, I've been rained on, and I've been there till dang near 3:30 in the morning watching teams that aren't mine. This tournament is insane. And when weather happens like it usually does in Hoover, or delays happen, or people get injured, by Tuesday night, I'm telling you, this thing will be so off schedule, we won't even know what's happening. So if you want to watch Auburn baseball Tuesday night, you just get your coffee ready a little early because it's going to be sometime early mid-morning.
I'm not shocked that Auburn's going to be playing late. What I'm shocked is that you were a little heathen, breaking the rules at Hoover. I mean,
hey, Kyle, I didn't have the money to be paying for 15 sessions to go to Auburn baseball games at the SEC tournament.
I don't now, so I don't know. It's not changed for me,
Well, just look for the bathroom stalls. They might still work for you.
That is not an official statement by this podcast. That is anyway. Here, real quick rundown of what you might be able to expect. Auburn versus Missouri, obviously at some point Tuesday, maybe early Wednesday morning, getting started. When I mean super early. But if they were to win that, they will take on number 4 seed Vanderbilt. Now it's win or go home at this point, but once that happens, you move into double elimination, and then it'll kind of get crazy. So there's no point in me kind of playing that out because the loser will go to one side of the bracket, the winner will go to the other side. You'll go all the way up until Sunday to the championship game. Hopefully Auburn can make it that far. I don't expect them to, just given the level of competition in the SEC, but we've seen them beat the best. So I would like one final prediction from you, sir. How far does Auburn go in this SEC tournament?
I'm going to say Auburn go. I don't really know what the stage would be. Like you said, it gets real convoluted. I'm going to say Auburn does go to Friday.
Okay.
They're going to go to Friday and have a chance to go to Saturday. I'm not sure the magic will stay that long with the level of Auburn starting pitching. I think they'll get to Friday.
Yeah.
I don't know, but past that, I'm not sure. One thing I know I won't be doing is betting on Alabama to get very far.
Oh, God. That was a long way home to that one, but you brought it back for another week. That was awesome. All right, let's talk about our second thing this evening, second big topic that I know that a lot of people have on their minds right now. And we've already talked about the transfer portal a little bit in the Auburn Potpourri section, but we're talking about, are we done yet? Austin, answer that question for me. Simple answer. Are we done yet?
Yeah, I think we're done now.
The correct answer, according to one Trevon Reed, is we are not done. But in all reality, folks, the Auburn football transfer portal, for all intents and purposes, based off of what coaches have said publicly, what other media members have kind of analyzed themselves, it seems like the way I've been talking about it, especially in some of our video breakdowns about each of these individual recruits, when I answer that question, what does this mean after this commitment, especially for the position of the class as a whole, I've been saying the needs have been addressed.
That's right.
Meaning the spots have been filled that were spoken about needing to be filled and that were obvious. So that's, I think, the appropriate way to answer this question. The needs have been met. However, never count out Trevon Reed, Cadillac. I should just name all the coaches because they're all doing the work here. Ron Roberts is getting involved on social media with his little, eye emojis and things like that. What I love so far is the level of involvement by every coach thus far on social media when it comes to recruiting, the hype, hinting at things, celebrating these things. This has been, we're treating this as the end of the transfer portal for Auburn football in the spring because it feels like it is. It's been fun. I'm surprised how much fun we have had with this. I knew we were going to have a very productive, just things to talk about. But gosh, it's been fun, hasn't it?
No, you're absolutely right. And, there's a couple ways we could go with this conversation that maybe this recruiting should be this much fun because that's how it's supposed to be with a staff that understands that. But as well as the fun that you mentioned on social media, that this particular staff seems to understand that does well with fan bases, that does well with potential commits or potential recruits they're looking at too. And so that they seem to have a personality about them that really gets the kind of culture we're in with recruiting. And so it has been a lot of fun. And I think you're completely right. All the needs have been met from a strictly numbers standpoint. Auburn had 19 transfers out. They've had about 21 to 22 come in. Well, you're in the positive there. So
right. Numbers wise. Yeah.
And I think all of those, I'm not going to say all of them are upgrades, but I think all of them, fill needs and then some go above and beyond that and help you in the immediate right now and have a chance to help you really have a good first year in the freeze era. So I'm really excited about it. I am kind of bummed that the transfer portal for Auburn football is kind of closing now. It's closing across the board. It's time to get to summer workouts, but for Auburn, it looks like, they've checked all the boxes they need to, and unless something magical falls into their lap, that this might be it. But it has been very fun. I completely agree with you.
And I just don't know what Trevon Reed's going to do at this time now. I mean, he's just been coming up with little funny gifts and, little graphics to post every time he's got some juicy tidbit. I think I have him like when you can go to like social media and put like, I need all notifications from this individual,
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to get from Trevon now. It's all his time he's going to have. I think the coaches, obviously, whether they're officially done or not, have earned a very well deserved time off, so to speak. There's really no time off for them because they have numbers wise, needs wise filled all of those positions. You kind of broke it down already about 19 or however many was that were left, and 22 I think is the official number that have come in as a whole, and that's counting spring and winter additions as well. And in lieu of just kind of running through the whole list here, We could do that. That might get a little bit boring. I actually did that the other night on a separate live stream, but I would love to talk with you about maybe some ones that stick out. So is there something, an individual, a group in this transfer portal for Auburn football that really sticks out to you?
Yeah, it's a good question. The easy thing to say is Peyton Thorne stands out. I think that's going to be the one
and
people
we're done.
Talk about a lot. Yeah, right. I think a big part of it too is, and I'm going to miss somebody, but we've now had Caleb Burton and Shane Hooks and
Nick Mardner.
Thank you, Nick Mardner. Is that the only 3 receivers?
I would be the 3. If I'm out, that video's coming as of this recording tomorrow, so I'll have those numbers tomorrow. But I believe that's correct.
I think I'm just thinking of names that were kind of else floated out there, but
yes,
I think the receiver group we've talked about at length before. That this is a good group to kind of come alongside a young group that's already in Auburn, and help them kind of see what level of potential they can reach. Jair Shorter is the North Texas receiver I was missing.
There it was. I knew you. It was there. You just
yeah.
You know.
But his former teammate and now his current teammate, Larry Nixon III, also from North Texas, a linebacker. There's groups that, like we've already said, fill needs, but also have experience in big games and have played a lot of games that are going to help this Auburn team a lot. I think who've been through a lot here over the last 3 or 4 years. So, this is a team we talk about is full of numbers and full of needs that Auburn has, but it's also ranked. Well, we rank transfer portal classes now. I don't know how you do that, but all these recruiting sites rank high school classes and now portal classes. Everyone is pretty in agreement. This is a portal class that's a top 2 or 3 portal class in America. So, this isn't just our orange and blue glasses saying this was an exceptionally well done job by this staff to go out and get quality players that help you right now. So, I couldn't be more excited, Kyle. Like it'll be, we've talked about baseballs and golf and track and field are the last things going, but man, Auburn football will be here soon. And I'm excited to see a lot of these guys and get this ball kicked off.
Yeah, truly now it becomes the speculation game. And one thing that I don't want to be lost in all of this for Auburn fans is, I'm starting to see this a lot, and I'm susceptible to it too. You are as well. That we're for sure dark horses. We're for sure. Like it's easy to go that route, and I think you can also still be so realistic that it's not fun. So I want us to find that happy medium where we need to recognize Auburn is in a place because of decisions I may or may not agree with, dating back 2 to 3 years ago. I'm not starting that again. That we. Don't.
I'm still hung up on the fact that you said we might be dark horses and we're having fun. So this is the year then. Is that what I'm hearing?
This is the year. And we're feeling good, and we might have fun.
A new offense.
But anyway, what I hope we do as fans, as the Auburn family, is recognize we need to have fun with this no matter what happens. This is a first year with so many new guys. It's one thing to change a regime. It's another thing to change a regime when you bring in 22 transfers to completely change over almost some sides of an offense or a defense, but really whole units. The offensive line is completely changed over minus maybe 1 or 2 guys. Want to know a group that's completely changed over that I've just been thinking about a lot today specifically? The edge position. Yeah. Unless I'm wrong, there is not a single person left. Derek Hall, Iku Leota, Dylan Brooks transferred out. And I think there was maybe 1 or 2 guys that maybe still on the roster that could have played that role, so to speak, like a defensive end move over.
Sure.
But you've got 5 guys that you've just brought in, and those are completely brand new. So there's stories like that across this team that you can talk about. Pretty much the only group that I think is pretty much the same, minus maybe 1, is the defensive back group, which was already pretty strong to begin with.
Yeah.
So I say all that to say there's a lot of interesting players to watch, new players specifically to watch this year, and just in general, how they can help each of these different position groups. So if you had to pick just one player from this transfer portal class that I'm going to go ahead and take the quarterback off the table because that's the easy answer. That's just easy answer. I want you to pick one other player out there that's you have got your eye on that you're most intrigued by.
It's probably Jair Shorter. Of course, I couldn't remember his name earlier, but I think it's probably Jair Shorter or Jalen McLeod, the edge rusher from App State, because those two are things that Auburn went looking for and got, and things that everyone was kind of mutually agreeing on. Players like that make Auburn better immediately. Because of, like you said, either a loss of attrition from the draft or from graduation or transfers, or from they haven't been able to recruit that in a while, like a tall receiver like Shorter. So I'd probably say
tall receiver like Shorter.
Nice. That was good. I didn't even hear I said it. That was good.
Sorry.
So yeah, that was good. I one of those guys I think will be a one we're talking about still in fall. And that's what you want out of the portal, right? You want immediate impact because those guys are proven, and you know that they have a spot on your team that can help you immediately. One very random tidbit, but I thought about it when you were talking about how we have 22 guys. Can you imagine having 50 new transfer portal entries like's going on in Colorado? Because that is overhaul, complete overhaul.
And see, here's the funny thing about that. I know we got to wrap up here, but that's the funny thing about this. People are like dogging Dion at one, and you can dog him in a sense that's like, man, you really are putting a lot of eggs in a basket that may just crack. But you got to admire the, for lack of a better term, cojones on someone to do that and to say this program is in such disarray. I don't care about if we crap the bed this season because there's no cohesion. We have got to change things over. To me, listen, when the whole conversation about who should come here, Dion, Hugh Freeze, Lane Kiffin, when all that was going on, I was very clear that I did not prefer Dion, but that doesn't mean I don't like some of the things that he does and the way he kind of handles his business. Like, there are some things about Dion that I like, and that was one of the things. So to round it all back to Auburn stuff, you pointed and I pointed out, and you kind of reiterated the fact that it's hard enough to manage a program with a new regime, but with all this changeover, 50 makes it just,
oh gosh.
It gives me a headache just to think about it. So be thankful, Auburn fans. There's not that much.
No, absolutely. And it takes the individual. And I think, not to have our own Dion segment here, but that, he was honest about that's what he was going to do, and he did it. So it's going to be interesting to watch. The portal has made college football so new and different. That is no different. So it will be definitely interesting to watch in Auburn and in Boulder, Colorado.
Yeah, it is going to be fun to watch this summer. Many things, and we'll begin the speculation game at this point and start talking about position battles. Who will start?
Talking season.
Talking season is here officially for football, at least, and we will begin that post haste. We thank you guys so much for tuning in with us tonight. Those of you that watched live on a different night and time, we will be back as far as we know on our regular schedule of Sunday nights at 9 Eastern time for the foreseeable future. So stay tuned for that. Again, we hope you can join us live, but with those of you listening on the audio podcast, we appreciate that as well. On your way out, if you want to find me on social media, Kyle at Kyle Loomis 24 on Twitter is where you can find me. Where can they find you, Mr. Scott?
At Austin G. Scott is where you can find me for any and all banter.
Any and all, and tips about how to not so legally stay in at the SEC baseball tournament.
It's the bathroom stalls, folks. It's probably not as easy as that anymore as it was 10 to 15 years ago, but it's worth a shot.
I feel like there's a quote in there that, taken out of context, may be very funny, and I will find it and clip it, and we will have ourselves a good little time with that.
Just put black bar over my face so they don't have my poster anywhere in the Hoover Met.
With that in mind, we appreciate you guys being here for episode 36, and we hope to see you again very soon. Until then, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
All right, and we're clear. Thank you so much, Mr. Austin, for hanging out with us.
Of course.
Believe it is bath time for the kiddos.
Yes. Trey Matthews was number 28, by the way.
I knew I was wrong as soon as I said
That's
it.
Okay.
They say things with confidence, and then people will believe
you.
No,
it's okay.
Unless you have a co-host who proves you wrong.
We probably didn't mention him on episode 28, so he got some love now.
There it is. Austin, always good to have you, buddy.
Thanks. War Eagle, guys.
War Eagle. All right, folks. Normally the drill is here. I hang around with you all for a little bit if you would like to. So if you guys want me to hang around for the next 15 minutes, start dropping, some questions, kind of like a normal Wednesday night. But if you guys aren't interested in that, it kind of seems like we've covered everything we need to, not very active. I'll start winding things down here tonight. So while you get that geared up, while you think about questions that you may want to ask or comments that you have that you want me to address, let me give you a reminder of what to expect. Remember, especially if you're watching here live right now, try to stay to the end because it will take you to our next scheduled live stream, which is tomorrow right now at 11. I know. We talked about how the baseball game, we don't know when it's officially going to start, but tomorrow night we are going to at some point talk about Auburn versus Missouri. So follow that over at the end of the stream. Hit the like button in advance if you can. Even if you can't join us live, it'll remind you in your I want to watch these things. And if you like it, if you hit the notify me bell, a lot of you are starting to do that now for us, and it's a huge help. I cannot stress that enough. You being our little family within the Auburn family. As always, check out the links in the description for ways that you can help support us. Be a subscriber. When we get to 4,000 subscribers, we're going to do that giveaway finally. So tell a friend, help us get up to 4,000 subscribers. You can be a Booster Club member here for $1 a month. You could also be a Booster Club, a channel member, was the last thing. The Booster Club member for $1 a month over on patreon.com. You get some more things over there for different tiers, but you can just stay here on YouTube if you'd like to for $1 a month and help keep the lights on here at E2C Network. Even though I don't have like a link available for you, things like that. Most of you know that we are now an affiliate of Alumni Hall. We'd love for you to support them by supporting us. Use our links whenever you can. And please do give them a visit and tell them that E2C Network sent you. You can do that at the Auburn stores. If you're not an Auburn fan, there are plenty of other stores out there that represent other fan bases, even that other one we don't want to talk about. So we'd love for you to show your support through us of them. Don't really see any other extra comments or questions. I'll hit kind of these few here in the chat from the show. Excited for baseball, but sad for the girls softball. Maddie Pinta gave us everything she had, but she couldn't overcome exhaustion. Well, yeah, when you're overused a little bit. I mean, listen, people went back and forth questioning whether Maddie should or should not have been brought in that SEC tournament. And then you have on the other end, she could have been too exhausted. So you just never know. You make the best decision you have at the time. And I just hope that the talent that has been accrued at the softball team can stay for long haul, even if Bri Ellis does officially leave. She's in the transfer portal now. Hoover fan, huh? WT checked in while we were there. The last game's always run past midnight. So, yeah, I'm anticipating us being super late, but I set it for 11 o'clock just in the hope that we might actually, get it off on a decent hour. I think we hit a lot of great topics, folks. I appreciate you being here, hanging out with us. Smash the like button on the way out if you can. It's always appreciated and is a humongous help. And I hope to see you live tomorrow night at some point or on the replay for our baseball live stream, and we'll be doing that again the next day if Auburn does win. So stay tuned all this week. More recruiting videos, tons of content for you here at E2C Network on YouTube, and we appreciate you guys hanging out with us, being part of our little family within the Auburn family. Till we talk to you again. War Eagle.